We're following up on a two-car crash that killed a Columbus man yesterday. News 3's Ashley Garrett joins us from the scene of that crash, where she's been working hard to find out the cause.
I'm in the area of where that deadly crash happened. It happened near that headquarters Nissan that you see behind me. Tonight, while a family is mourning, Columbus police are working diligently to learn the cause of the crash.
911, what's your emergency?
You're looking at yesterday's chaotic scene. The image shows a badly mangled and dark-colored vehicle. The crash happened on Whitesville Road near the dealership around 4 in the afternoon.
Right now, it's actually still a preliminary investigation. We're still in the midst of that right now.
Tonight, Columbus police tell me that they are on hand to help the family.
It was a normal afternoon after school one day. Me and my cousin Mary, I always used to drive her to and from school, and I had my mom's car that day instead of my car because she wanted me to get an oil change for her.
So after school, Anna and I stopped by the mechanics. They gave the car the oil change.
We got it all checked out. They did end up telling us that there was like a potential that the airbags in the passenger seat might not deploy.
And they told us that should we be in a car accident, there is a chance that the passenger side airbags would not deploy.
So we ended up leaving the Kia Sorrento place. It was probably like around 4 at this point now.
We were approaching the intersection of Whittlesley and Whitesville Road. It's a pretty large intersection. And I remember as we were approaching the intersection, I was looking down. I don't remember if I was on my phone or what I was doing. I just know I was not looking at the road.
It was green. I do remember seeing that it was green as we were approaching. And within a split second of like remembering green light, Mary, bang, like wreck.
All I remember is this huge weight against my face and my chest, and because I was looking down, it hurt.
I remember in that moment on first initial impact, I was like, brake, 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 but I didn't know how.
The feeling of the car spinning out of control felt like it was going to last an eternity. And I just had this great fear in my mind of how are we gonna stop and what is going to cause us to stop.
So what stopped us was we ended up like hitting this very large cement pole.
We need to get out of the car and we need to turn the car off.
I just remember waking up in a sense, and there were huge airbags that did deploy. I remember opening my door and I was kind of like, Mary, you gotta get out, you gotta get out.
And I remember trying to get out and my door wouldn't open, and I just remember like kicking and pushing and just saying, it won't open, I can't get out, and just feeling very panicked.
So she had to climb through the front seat, like from the passenger seat to the front seat, and get out of my side.
And I just remember it being really painful to crawl over and get out.
Pedestrians at this point did start coming out and coming to help us.
You know, just tried to soothe us, saying everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay.
Because we were still by ourselves at this point, and just kind of like taking in the moment of like, oh my gosh, what just happened and how did it happen?
So Anna was on the phone with 911, and I remember asking the lady who came to check on us, what happened to the other person? Is the other person okay? Because I could look out and see this burgundy truck completely flipped over on its side. And she told me, he's okay, everything's gonna be okay, don't worry about it, the ambulance is on their way. And so I just remember thinking like, okay, everybody's okay. Unfortunately, at this part of the day, things did begin to take a turn. Anna and I were both approached by the paramedics, and they asked us if we thought that we needed to go to the hospital. And we kind of looked at each other and we were like, well, I'm okay and you look okay. And so we declined the offer of going to the hospital in an ambulance. And looking back on it now, that was probably not the wisest decision. And if I could go back, I would have absolutely gone to the hospital to be examined. We didn't know it at the time, but this car wreck has caused me to have damage in one of the discs in my neck. And this causes me pain on a daily basis, doing everyday things. However, Anna and I were extremely blessed to have walked away from the wreck like we did. As time went on, Anna and I were told by the police that we could go home and that they would call us later with the results in regards to who was at fault in the wreck. And so I got in the car with my mom, and we didn't even have the chance to pull out before my mom received a phone call, and I remember her saying, okay, we're on our way back. And she looked at me and she told me that the other man had passed away. And from this moment on, my perspective on life has changed completely. I immediately started crying, and as we made our way back up to the scene of the wreck, there was a completely different tone with everything. The police started to investigate Anna and myself separately, trying to get both of our sides of the stories, and they told us that this is now an investigation. Many hours went by. Anna and I were told that we could go home. She went to her house and I went to my house. And I remember that evening we received the call with the news that we were not at fault for the car accident and that there would be no charges placed against us. And while there was a feeling of relief from the legal aspect, to this day I am still struggling with processing what happened on January 19th, 2017. I was 15 at the time of the wreck, and what felt most natural for me in a situation like this was just to swallow it, try not to think about it, try not to talk about it if I could. But deep down I was really wrestling with the idea that Anna and I were involved in the same accident, yet she and I were able to walk away, continue on with our lives, and yet this man, those were his last moments. I'm still working towards finding peace and understanding as to why this had to happen, but this car wreck has taught me a lot, even just about the fragility of life, because no one is guaranteed tomorrow, and no one knows when their last moments will be, and this car wreck has given me that perspective, as difficult as it is. This documentary even has given me the necessary time and place to truly process and reflect what happened that day, because while I try to avoid that intersection when I can't always, and when I go through it, I'll think about it. But that's all the time I give myself to think about what happened. Through this experience, I have been able to have those difficult conversations and ask difficult questions, and on an emotional level, it has not been easy to have to talk about this and think about this day after day and then listen to it again and again. But I'm very blessed to have the support system that I have around me through my family, my friends, my church, my teachers, and my classmates. They have made this process possible, truly, and I'm really grateful.